Welcome back to another episode of Art with Kenneth on the KJL podcast channel. I'm Kenneth J. Lewis Sr., and today's episode is titled Cotton, Canvas, and Color, From Acrylic Layers to Oil Finish. Part 1 in this episode, I'm taking you inside my process from the early acrylic builds on cotton fabric and canvas all the way to layered momentum that leads into the oil finish. It's raw, it's loose, and it's completely intuitive. You'll see how I approach each piece with movement first, thinking later. There's no map here, just rhythm, emotion, and color. So grab your coffee, settle in, and step into the world of expressive layering, unfiltered thought, and bold creative freedom. Let's get into it. Before we dive in, take a second to like, share, and subscribe to the KJL podcast channel. Here we do more than paint. We explore the full spectrum of creativity. You'll find episodes of Art History Show featuring untold stories of a mix of artists, the Muse Unveiled Show experience, where everyday people become the subject of powerful portraits, and inside looks at exhibitions, studio practice, and weekend workshops. Plus, join us at the KJL Art Sanctuary Gallery and Studio in Ewing, New Jersey, for our Saturday coffee, tea, sip, and paint events. Art lives here, and so do you. Before I get into the studio, I make 2 quick stops. Aldi first. I'm picking up a bag of Cafe Morello ground coffee, dark roast. Bold, full body, just the way I like it. This is what fuels the long hours at the studio. I'll brew it fresh once I get set up and ready to paint. Then over to Home Depot for some odorless mineral spirits. That's essential for when I shift into the oil phase later on. I always make sure to have that on hand. I make my way back to the studio. This is where the rhythm begins. My setup today includes 6 containers of pre-mixed acrylics in lighter tones. These are the foundation. I'm using a mix of Artist Loft for versatility, Golden heavy body for texture, and Montmartre medium body paints for blending flexibility. Brushes all kinds, from wide, worn-in flats to fresh tips for smaller strokes. The goal is freedom, spontaneousness, quick moves that keep the energy alive. With everything in place, it's time to start the layering. This first piece is on an 8-foot tall canvas with the sketch already mapped out in black acrylic. A figurative abstract landscape. You'll see the bones of a house, a few trees, landforms, and a wash of green and blues. The underpainting alive, and now it's time to build on it. The second piece is a 4-foot square cotton linen fabric prepped with an acrylic red wash. The composition is a loose wall of memory, kitchen objects, furniture, vases, windows, nothing quite in proportion, everything slightly off and intentionally disordered. This one evolves as I move. Each mark leads to the next. Now with the 8-foot by 4-foot piece on canvas. I always start with a sense of rhythm. It's more dance than design. I've got this sketch beneath it, a house, trees, landforms, but I'm not tied to it. It's a launch pan. That's it. I'm loading the brush with lighter tones and muted creams, sky blues, and olive green. They're not highlights, they're invitations. They ask the canvas, what comes next? I try not to labor over a single spot too long. I move quickly, not because I'm in a rush, but because I trust my first moves. There's something honest about that first pass. If you go over it too much, you lose the spark. I keep telling myself, let it stay loose. The paint's thin in places, thick in others. Some areas I dry brush to let the texture underneath show. Others I go heavy, really let the bristles press in. I love that push and pull between surface and stroke. Some marks feel finished, some feel like questions. That contrast keeps the work alive. I'm using a bigger brush now, wider head, more drag. I'm dragging a pale gray right across the blue field, and it's breaking up in a way I didn't expect. That's the magic. You can't predict texture like this. You have to let the paint talk. And look, now I'm carrying out negative space, not adding more, but taking away, creating form by absence. I'm not thinking about details. This stage is about energy, gesture, movement. Sometimes I catch myself hesitating, wondering if this color works, if this line is off, and when I do, I stop and look from a distance. I don't touch the canvas until I'm ready to respond. That pause matters. This is the part where I lose track of time. Everything outside this room stops mattering. It's just me, the brush, the sound of bristles scraping canvas, and that feeling in my gut that says, go here next. These early layers are soft but full. It's like music under a film. It sets the tone for everything that follows. What I lay down now, even if it gets covered later, will still breathe through. I'm not after perfection. I'm after presence. And right now, I feel it. At this stage, the painting feels alive, almost complete. The colors are expressive, the forms are loose but confident. The final oil layer will come in later to add that last touch of weight, depth, and polish. For now, I'm just letting the surface breathe. This piece feels different from the jump. The red wash on the cotton fabric liner, it's got heat to it. Not temperature, but tension. I like working on fabric like this. It's less predictable than canvas. It absorbs differently. It resists in places. That unpredictability keeps me alert. My first marks are just sharp suggestions, almost like ghost. A chair leg, a window pane, a kitchen pot, they're all floating in and out of memory. Nothing's measured. Nothing's planned. I'm painting what feels remembered, not what was. This works less about composition, more about call and response. I put a shape down and wait for the pieces to answer back. Sometimes I paint an object and then paint right over it. Not because it was wrong, but because the piece changed its mind. There's joy in erasing your own decisions. I switch between brush sizes a lot here. I want some marks bold and declarative, others faint like a thought slipping away. That variety creates mood, texture, feeling. As I drag colors across the patches here and there, it's not to cover, but to veil. I want the previous layer to show through like history just beneath the surface. These objects, cups, bowls, they're all stand-ins. They're not just things, they're symbols of presence. A cup or vase means someone was here. A chair means someone rested. A curtain suggests privacy. This painting is a room of memories. The more I add, the more I take away. There's a kind of rhythm here. Paint, pause, reflect, adjust. If a shape starts to feel too rigid, I blur it. If something disappears too fast, I bring it back with just one clean line. I don't need every object to read perfectly. Some should feel unresolved, like you're remembering a dream after waking up. Right now I'm working with a variety of colors. It's softening the harshness of the reds, making room for calm. I press into the fabric like I'm pushing the memory deeper in. This moment is what I love most. The middle, not the start, not the finish. The middle is where the painting talks back. This piece is coming together with rawness and rhythm. There's a balance in the tension between what's seen and what's only suggested. The objects feel like memories, slightly blurred, but still standing. It's not done, but it's alive, and that's enough for today. Two different surfaces, two different moods, but the same energy running through both. That's what I love about working this way. Nothing perfect, nothing precious, just layers of movement, meaning, and color. This has been Art with Kenneth on the KJL podcast channel. You've been watching Cotton, Canvas, and Color, from acrylic layers to oil finish. I'm looking forward to part 2, where both of these works evolve through the oil painting process. Thank you for joining me for another session. The next episode will follow these pieces into their final form. Until then, keep creating, keep exploring, and never be afraid to paint your way through it. Thank you for joining me today on the KJL podcast channel. Your time, support, and creativity mean the world to me. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps keep this artistic journey alive and thriving. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a brushstroke, story, or inspiring moment. Your encouragement fuels the art, podcast, and everything we create together. Stay inspired, stay curious, and remember, every masterpiece begins with a single brushstroke. Until next time, this is Kenneth J. Lewis Sr. signing off from the KJL podcast channel. See you soon.